We are currently working on scanning cuneiform tablets and processing the 3D models with different software. And our research is part of a project coordinated by the National Council for Research and funded by the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. Cuneiform tablets seems to us a very uncomfortable writing medium. But despite this, it was in use for more than 3,000 years and in a very wide geographical area, from Iran to Iraq to Turkey, Syria, Levant, and even in Egypt, as documented from Tel el Amarna and Pi Ramesses. Clay tablets are written in cuneiform signs. They may have a different size. They can be very, very small, like 3 centimeters for 3. They can have a medium size, or they have much bigger. But all of them have a curved surface, and sometimes, as in the case of the tablet here on the right, a cushion shape, and this makes very difficult to shoot photographs with analogical cameras. Since the 19th century of our age, cuneiform tablets are made available to the scientific community by copies, hand copies, made by epigraphists who copied them either on the find spot or in the museum. Although the epigraphists are usually, very talented scholars, these hand copies have a high degree of subjectivity and sometimes also very overinterpretation when the tablet is fragmentary and only parts of the sign is preserved. Thus, since the half of the 19th century, when photographs started to be used in museums for art history, photographers starting to shoot images of the cuneiform tablets. And we owe to Roger Fenton, who was also the first war photographer because he took part in the Crimea War and published these terrible images of the war. But he was appointed by the British Museum in 1854 to photograph the very rich collection of cuneiform tablets preserved in the British Museum. Of course, the analogical photographs cannot give the perfect idea of the old surface where writing is written, because the scribes used the old surface, so they wrote on the obverse and the reverse, but also on the upper lower edge, on the left and right edge. When computer entered our life, several university and research centers started implementing data set of cuneiform tablets with all the metadata and the analogic images. And here I show you the data set of the Cuneiform Digital Library that was funded by colleague Robert Englund at the University of California in Los Angeles. And actually, we assume that there are about 2 million cuneiform tablets in the museum, and probably 1 more million in private collection or, in antiques shops and gallery. But the CDLI has already collected more than 300,000 cuneiform tablets. And this image, and also the next one, no, it's only this, it's one tablet from the Turing collection, and this is the collection on which we are currently working. despite the fact that this site is very useful for all of us, as you can see, the tablet is not very well readable. So the CDLI team started working with other museum and organization, and particularly with the Max Planck Institute, starting scanning a 3D image, and they use this Brackman 3D scanner. Quite all the museum now are trying to scan the tablets of their collection. As an example, we show here the technical apparatus of the Vorderasiatisches Museum in Berlin. And this project is led together with the University of Münster. And they use a reflectance transformation imaging dome with 64 LED lamps. The images are very good, but the problem is that this apparatus is bulky and not transportable. So the aim of our project is testing all the portable scanners available on the market in order to check how they work, what are the results, why a portable scanner? Because, I mean, the great majority of archaeological museums in Western Asia don't have this apparatus. And so, and sometimes it's very useful taking 3D images of cuneiform tablets on the archaeological site where they have been discovered. I mean, you can have the image immediately when the archaeological campaign is in act and not after. Besides, we would like also to work with seals and ceilings, and I cannot understand why, but ceilings are neglected by the colleagues who work with 3D scanners. And so we are still working with these very bad analogical photographs and drawings. And as in the case of hand copies, the drawings, I mean, are very, they have a high degree of subjectivity. We have started testing the scanners with a very rich collection of cuneiform tablets of the Musei Reali. And before, as the colleagues of the Egyptian Museum know very well, this collection was shared between the Museum of Antiquities and the Egyptian Museum. And probably not all know that this is the richest collection in Italy of cuneiform tablets. It's about 650 cuneiform tablets, very well exhibited after the renovation of this part of the museum. And we are grateful to Enrica Pagella and Elisa Panero for having given us the permission of working in museum and producing the first 3D images. And now I leave the floor to Filippo for the technical data, and then we will show you some examples of the images that we have captured.
Is it working? No. Yeah? Okay, perfect. So the selected methodology is structure light 3D scanning that is essentially based on a grid pattern of light emission in order to capturing light deformations on the objects, and depending on these kind of deformations, the scanner record distances and angles in order to reconstruct the entire morphology of the object. So briefly, the main operative principle is therefore based on the trigonometric triangulation between the light, the camera, and of course the objects. And then the scanner calculates the alpha angle in order to generate X, Y, Z distances. So we adopted Space Spider scanner in order to its flexibility and easy to use on the field, and It is extremely accurate. For example, the 3D accuracy is 50 microns, and the output resolution of model is 100 microns. But why obtaining high detailed and populated 3D models? Because our purpose is to extract semantic information from 3D high detailed model, because high populated mesh does not provide semantic and sensitive information without a post-processing analysis, such as filtering and shading. So through these analysis, specific and nearly visible features come up from 3D models, such as fingerprints, seals impressions, and other characteristics. So in this way, we can obtain 3D models, but coupled with semantic information in order to obtain not only digital twin, but digital informative twin. So this is the first example. Please, Stefano.
Yeah, we are showing you 3 examples. So this is a beautiful tablet with its envelope. It's the only one with the envelope, unfortunately, in the Turing collection. It dates to the 18th century BC. It's a private contract. It's written in Akkadian. And the envelope have the aim of guarantee the warranty of the text, because the recipient received the tablet with the envelope, and in order to read it, the envelope should be broken, and the envelope was sealed. So we challenged with this tablet, trying to reconstruct the envelope and the tablet together. And as Filippo showed us, we were able also to detect the impression on the back, on the reverse of the envelope, because the clay was humid when it was posed on the already baked tablet.
Yeah, of course, because this model is composed essentially by 3 meshes, and the average population is 23 million of triangles. And so we started with post-processing analysis by using GigaMesh open source software. And because the software is designed for metric analysis, for filtering, shading, in order to extract information. In fact, as you can see, through the use of the multiscale integral invariant filter, we were able to extract seal impressions on the background, as well as fingerprints, and of course other characteristics. So this is the external tablet, the side one, and the other side, also the external envelope of the model. And you can see and read impressions below the cuneiform writing. And this is the internal one, processed also by MS-II filter. And through this kind of analysis, by different levels of processing, we detect a fingerprint impression, a small fingerprint impression on the side. The second one.
Yes, this tablet, it's written in Sumerian. It comes from the city of Umma in southern Mesopotamia. It dates to the last decades of the 3rd millennium before Christ. These tablets, like several of the documents issued by the administration of the so-called kingdom of the 3rd dynasty of Ur that controlled the southern Mesopotamia in the last century of the 3rd millennium, is pre pre-sealed before writing the cuneiform on the tablet. This is something crazy, but the pre-sealing probably it was similar to letterheads in our modern time, and the whole surface of the tablet is pre-sealed. But the naked eye, we cannot see the pre-sealing. Giovanni Bergamini, who studied the seals, was not able to recognize the scene impressed on the seal. And this tablet is particularly interesting because the seal belonged to a scribe whose name is Lu Haya, who sealed several other tablets of this same time, this same archive, dispersed in different museums, but with the difference that, in this tablet, the pre-sealing was not well readable until Filippo worked with Gigamesh on this tablet.
Yeah, thank you, Stefano. So this is the 3D model, of course, and as you can see, details and other features can be perceived by analyzing the model, but without texture, because the texture layers often does not provide some kind of micrometric details. And of course, this model was processed with Gigamesh and MSII filter. And on the left, we have 13 feature vector elements with inverted color ramp. And on the right, 5 feature vector elements with a regular color ramp. So we have 2 different models. And in this way, the seal impression in the background can be perceived in different ways, of course, enhancing detail depending on surface layer, of course. And through this analysis, we, of course, can reconstruct the seal dimension and especially the impression methodology, as Stefano said. And this tablet was, of course, analyzed by Giovanni Bergamini, who proposed a drawing and a written transcription of the sealing. The seal, of course, is of Luaya scribe, and you can see a seated figure and a standing one, probably a god. But as Stefano said, Bergamini probably didn't see the entire rolled ceilings on the small upper side of the tablet. Details clearly visible only through post-processing analysis on 3D models, of course. And in fact, thanks to this kind of analysis, we can retrace visible extracted features, and you can see, of course, the standing figure with raised arms, and the seated one with the raised right hand. And of course, the rising sun, moon on the center area. According to this new evidence extracted from model, of course, we can update the original one, the original drawing of Bergamini, and in order to obtain a new updated one. And this kind of hypothesis also validated by other Luaya seals, also coming from Yuma, and of course with the same chronology, which are still preserved in worldwide museums, of course. The model was also processed with other kind of filters, such as ambient occlusion or radiant scaling. But as you may notice, there is a big visual difference between the textured one and the MSII filter in order to boost the visibility of details. The latest example is referred to the smallest one example of tablet on which we have a nearly visible fingerprint, and through digital light manipulation we can boost this kind of detail. Of course, by manipulating vertical and horizontal ray light. And then, as you can imagine, by using GigaMesh open source software, we perform MSII filtering, and of course, micrometric evidence of fingerprint come up. So fingerprint and grooves are displayed in its entirety. So the analyzed fingerprint has an average surface area of 110 millimeters square, and then metric analysis applied to other example coming from the same site could be helpful for understanding and identifying people behind the object, and of course understanding other operative processes. Of course, as before, the tablet was processed with other kind of filter, but MSII filter boosts, of course, the fingerprint evidence. But our final purpose is to create a smart and secure repository in order to include metadata with 3D model, of course. Also thank with our colleague Francesco Barsacchi, we collected different kind of metadata in order to create a smart repository. In fact, we create a beta version of common data environment for data access and exchange. In this way, metadata with models are semantically linked for facilitating the dissemination and further studies. And then a 3D inspection will be available for further investigations. In fact, finally concluding, a full immersion 3D inspector was designed by using open source solution for investigating 3D models coupled with metric analysis possibility. So yeah, finished. I also include in this kind of viewer the possibility of manipulating filters and shaders, so also for common users. And that's all. We want to thank you for your attention.